On what grounds does France believe it can continue to impose leaders on us and make choices on our behalf? This must come to an end.
Meet Senegal's recently elected president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Similar to Ousmane Sonko, his tutor, they both represent the pan-African spirit of revolt against French neocolonial practices. Senegal held its presidential elections this past weekend, and the people of the country are feeling inspired by a new candidate who is stirring up passions among them with promises of reform and rejuvenation. This person is Bassirou Diomaye Faye, the leader of the opposition, who has shown great promise as a presidential candidate and is expected to win the first round of voting. At 44 years old, Bassirou Diomaye Faye is a member of a new generation of politicians who want national sovereignty, more equitable wealth distribution, and the overhaul of the legal system, which he perceives as being corrupt. His captivating demeanor and steadfast dedication to social justice have enabled him to win over the hearts of the Senegalese people. Faye stated during his election campaign that, if elected, he intended to end France's economic hegemony over Senegal. One of the ideas is to exit the CFA franc currency bloc, which has long been a topic of discussion and controversy in the nation. On March 25, 1980, Bassirou Diomaye Faye was born in Diagonao, Senegal. Following graduation from college, he pursued other academic goals and earned a master's degree in law. He was admitted to the Distinguished Magistracy Program and the prestigious National School of Administration (ENAU) in 2004 after passing the demanding entrance exams. The 44-year-old Faye, who is expected to become the next president of Senegal and the youngest democratically elected leader of West Africa, is a candidate worth getting to know. Bassirou Diomaye Faye, with his youthful energy, charisma, and dedication to social justice,
Mais ce matin, la plupart des journaux sénégalais titraient d'ores et déjà sur une victoire de l'opposant dès le premier tour. Si l'information se confirmait,
following his academic studies, he entered the government's tax department as a tax inspector, committed to serving the public and maintaining budgetary integrity. At the age of 34, Faye made a big difference in 2014 by taking part in crucial gatherings that resulted in the creation of the opposition party Pastef. In Senegal, Pastef became a prominent opposition force, confronting the long-standing domination of established political parties. During this time, Faye became close friends with Ousmane Sonko, the founder of Pastef and a fellow ENA graduate. Ousmane Sonko, a public law graduate, went from being fired from his position as a tax inspector for publicly addressing allegations of tax evasion to holding positions in the National Assembly and then as Ziguinchor's mayor. Over time, Bassirou and Sonko developed a close friendship to the point where Bassirou named his son Ousmane in honor of their friendship. Later on, Faye became a key player and strategist in Sonko's bid for the 2019 presidential election. At the same time, many young people found resonance in Sonko's passionate statements, attacking the government during his campaign, considering the significant young population in the nation. Sonko came in third place with roughly 16% of the vote in his first election. Sadly, Ousmane Sonko was detained a few years later on charges of sexual assault brought forth by a massage parlor worker, which led to the heartbreaking loss of Pastef's charismatic leader. Faye had to take charge and become the party's general secretary after a number of other executive members were also arrested. Sonko's supporters, who viewed him as a leader against the system and corruption, stood by him throughout a period of court battles. In the meantime, Pastef, the political group to which Sonko belonged, flourished and formed an alliance together with 4 other parties, and taking home 56 of the 165 legislative seats in the 2022 Senegalese National Assembly election. This achievement not only gave Sonko and his companion Faye more confidence, but it also gave their fans hope that Sonko would be a strong candidate for president. But Faye himself ran into legal problems after being taken into police custody on April 14, 2023, on allegations of disseminating false information, disobeying the court, and disparaging a reputable organization. His social media post criticizing what he saw as the judiciary's degradation led to his detention. While waiting for a decision that would prevent Sonko from running in the next presidential election in due course, Faye was also charged with inciting rebellion and endangering national security. A few months later, Sonko was put in jail after being accused of insurrection, which put both men behind bars. Many opposition members have been imprisoned after Sonko took a combative attitude against the government in 2021, which has sparked violent turmoil throughout Senegal. The decision by President Macky Sall to postpone the 2024 election was largely influenced by this turmoil, which sent Senegal into its worst political crisis in recent memory. It is important to remember that Senegal has a history of refraining from coups and has upheld a custom of conducting elections. Elections have typically been orderly, peaceful, and have resulted in several seamless handovers of power. Nevertheless, this election season has markedly deviated from the norm. As was previously reported, well-known opposition figure Sonko became embroiled in court disputes, arguing that the accusations against him were driven by politics. Despite his claims, he was practically prohibited from running for public office by one conviction. His supporters' ardent support spurred massive demonstrations, which led to a brutal and deadly security forces crackdown. Then, in early February 2024, President Macky Sall shocked both the people of Senegal and the entire world by announcing that the planned elections for that month would instead take place in December 2024 instead of February. Macky Sall justified this decision by arguing that it was necessary to dispel doubts about the initial presidential candidates. However, the Senegalese Constitutional Court rejected this argument, ordering the president to promptly schedule a new election date. Fortunately, Macky Sall complied, setting the election for March 24th, giving candidates just 13 days to campaign. He also promised to resign on April 2nd, regardless of the results of the election. After this decree and the subsequent amnesty that freed the opposition leaders who had been imprisoned, Ousmane Sonko and Bassirou Faye were released from prison, causing jubilation among those who supported the opposition in Senegal. When casting their ballots on March 24, voters had a choice between 19 presidential competitors, though only 2 were thought to be serious candidates. Bassirou emerged as the front-runner for the opposition after Ousmane Sonko was disqualified, and Amadou Ba, a former prime minister representing the ruling party, was the other. Supporters of Amadou Ba said that maintaining the status quo would meet Senegal's demands. On the other hand, Bassirou sparked passion among a sizable segment of the youth population and increased support across the country. Supporters of Ousmane Sonko were strongly urged to lend their strength to Bassirou. The affiliation of Ousmane with Faye was the main subject that ran throughout the campaign. In essence, Bassirou Faye's plan was to take advantage of Ousmane Sonko's immense popularity in order to win the presidential race. Faye made bold promises to the Senegalese people during his campaign, endorsing left-wing Pan-Africanism and promised significant dramatic reforms. He promised to fight corruption and subvert Senegal's economic dominance by France. Progressive West African critics who speak French and young people living in cities have recently turned their attention to criticizing France, seeing it as the source of deeply ingrained African frustrations. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, share, and leave a comment about what you think. Also, subscribe to this channel to get updated about more developments going on around the world.